Historical sources of morphology. So we see that morphological system not only erode but also arise. So an example of is the emergence of nominal compounding in Germanic languages that arose from noun phrases of this type. For example, noun genitive case, the noun in genitive case and noun. So it becomes a noun phrase. For example, Harry's book. So Harry is a noun. It is in the genitive case and the book is noun. But now you look at this, that the first noun that is now in the genitive case has become a modifier. It is no more a noun, right? So when you are referring to, if you refer a pronoun to this Harry, it will be an incorrect because now it has lost its property of the noun. It has become an adjective, right? The prenominal noun with genitive case function as a modifier. Such noun phrases were reinterpreted as compound nouns. Universation, this is the process. The reinterpretation of phrases as words does not necessarily lead to language change. So if we reinterpret these types of phrases, we do not mean that language has changed. In linguistic, universation is the diachronic process of combining a fixed expression of several words into a new single word. So this is very important that over the period of time, it was found that a certain group of words has started to be used as one word. So this process was known as universation. For example, some English example include always. So it was all the way, and later s was added to it to make it always. So it was a phrase and then it was made a word. Similarly, on to, written as one word, it's a preposition. It used to be on and to. Similarly, albeit. So albeit became albeit. And the colloquial gonna, would you. So these are all examples of this universation. These changes imply the addition of lexemes to the lexicon. Obviously, albeit has become a lexical, and now it is used in the dictionary or lexicon as a word, right? But do not affect the morphological system. Although this kind of universation did not lead to new morphological rules, when a word is multimorphemic, this does not necessarily imply that it has been created by a morphological process. So it does not show that albeit or this type of the word that we have just mentioned took place or made as a result of some morphological process, that there was a root and then certain prefix or suffixes were added, etc. The frequency plays a role in the grammaticalization. So in the grammar, in the making of these words is very important factor, and that is frequency. These are words, obviously these are the words that are very frequently used by the speakers. So grammaticalization defined as the process by which a frequently used sequence of words or morphemes become automated a single processing unit. So this is grammaticalization, when a sequence of word becomes a single unit. Grammaticalization is that subset of linguistic changes through which lexical item in certain uses become a grammatical item, or through which a grammatical item becomes more grammatical, right? Becomes more grammatical. A grammatical item becomes more grammatical. It becomes a lexical item, and now it can be used as a separate word. An example of the change from lexical to grammatical item is the development of the verbs into auxiliaries. So there are certain verbs, they were lexical verbs which were made through this grammaticalization process into auxiliaries. For example, to have. We know that the verb to have is when it is used as a full verb, it is to possess something, but we also use this verb as a auxiliary verb, as a helping verb to make a perfect tense, right? So similarly, let's take the example of modal auxiliary can. Now it is used as an auxiliary verb, and it has lost its status of being a lexical verb. In these examples, grammaticalization does not create morphology. It is not because of any morphological process. Rather, it is simply the use that has made a certain lexical item or a certain grammatical item more grammatical. This does happen if a lexical or grammatical morpheme becomes an affix, right? So this happens if lexical item becomes an affix. The phenomenon of degrammaticalization has raised the question whether grammaticalization is subject to the condition of unidirectionality. It means that it only makes something, or it also degenerates, it also divides words into more words. Can a grammatical morpheme becomes less grammatical or even lexical as well? So this depends on one's definitions of the grammaticalization. Obviously, the way a linguist thinks of this very word grammaticalization will be dependent on this process. If unidirectionality is one of its defining properties, changes into opposite direction simply require another descriptive term, for instance, degrammaticalization. So if we separate from this aspect of grammaticalization, then we need a different term, that is degrammaticalization. So the reinterpretation of English genitive case morpheme s as a clitic is a restricted form of degrammaticalization, that the word has lost its status. The s used to be his, right? But with the passage of time, it has degrammaticalized and has become simply an s for genitive case. So it is a restricted case because the suffix does not end up with a full lexical words. We do not use it in its full lexical form, that is his. In early modern English, it has also been interpreted as the weak form of the possessive pronoun his, that is as a full word. Shakespeare's right, the Count his galleys. So the Count's galleys is actually his galleys. So now, as a result of degrammaticalization, this word has lost its lexical aspect, its grammaticalizational aspect. This change is related to the fact that English lost its case system, and this made a reanalysis of the genitive suffix s necessary. So we've seen that there is no case system in nouns except genitive case. So this is due to this loss of case system in English language. Grammaticalization is restricted in nature. We find very few examples of this process, whereas grammaticalization is a pervasive and natural phenomena in natural languages. So these are some of the historical aspects in the change of language.